2025 is shaping up to be a massive year for Xbox, especially if you're an FPS fan like myself. Whether it's highly anticipated first-party releases or just exciting new additions to Xbox Game Pass, there's so much to be excited about next year. So today I'll be covering the 15 insane FPS games coming to Xbox and Xbox Game Pass in 2025. As always, I've marked which ones are coming to Game Pass, so you'll know exactly what's hitting the service right from day one. So with that out the way, my name is Fletcher, this is Xbox Nation. Subscribe for more Xbox content every single day, and let's dive right in. First up, we've got Delta Force, and let me tell you, this one's kicking off the list with some serious firepower. This is actually a free-to-play military FPS that blends large-scale tactical battles with tight objective-based missions. You have to think of it on a level of sort of Battlefield 2042, but now this is the sort of FPS that we really wanted. What honestly makes this game stand out though is the variety. Whether you're wanting to dive into its massive multiplayer battles or focus on smaller, more intense operations, there's really something for every kind of shooter fan. You'll also be playing as elite operators, each with their own unique skills and gear, and teamwork is really essential if you want to dominate the battlefield. Whether you're taking on high stakes PvP or working together in more court focused missions like Tarkov, the action is fast, intense, and always better with your friends. Oh, and did I mention that it's free to play, so it's definitely worth checking out when it launches onto the Xbox Series X and S sometime next year. Next, we've actually got one of the biggest surprises from Bethesda of this year's Xbox Showcase, and that's Doom: The Dark Ages. The Doom franchise is honestly just known for its fast-paced, heart-pounding action, and this time we're going back in time, quite literally. This is set in a medieval world, and this game serves as a prequel to the entire series, giving us the origin story of the Doomslayer himself. You'll be battling demons and gods and all kind of medieval nightmares in a world that's dark, brutal, and full of secrets. Of course, the combat will still have that signature Doom intensity, but with a whole new arsenal of ancient weapons and some dark magic to boot. The good news though, it is dropping day one onto Xbox Game Pass, so you won't have to wait long to dive into this chaos. Fans of co-op shooters, you can finally rejoice, and I know many fans of this franchise were ecstatic to see this game announced. Deep Rock Galactic Rogue Core is a roguelike spin-off of the widely popular Deep Rock Galactic, and to be honest, I cannot wait to get my hands on it. You and your crew of space dwarves will now venture into procedurally generated caves again, where you will of course be mining for resources, blasting tons of alien bugs, and facing off against some deadly environmental hazards. Here's the twist though with this new entry, every single run is different. With roguelike mechanics, you'll be constantly switching up your loadouts, unlocking new gear, and facing unpredictable challenges. The chaos of Deep Rock Galactic is just so back, but with even more variety this time around. Whether you're wanting to play solo or co-op with your buddies, this game promises endless replayability and just pure fun. Now, if you love zombies and survival, then Projekt Z Beyond Order is going to be right up your alley. I actually heard of this game when I was playing on Google Stadia back when it first released, as this developer was actually really interested in bringing the game to the platform. This is set on a post-World War II island infested with the undead, and this game combines that sort of tactical FPS combat with crafting, base building, and exploration. It promises a gritty, tense, and really packed with action experience. You can play this either solo or in co-op with up to 3 friends, scavenging the island for supplies, crafting better weapons, and upgrading your base to fend off increasingly dangerous hordes. It reminds me of sort of Left 4 Dead, but now in sort of this World War II style universe. Honestly though, this game isn't just about the sort of survival mechanics, there's also a very deep narrative behind the island's mysteries that'll keep you hooked as you fight for your life. If you enjoy these more sort of intense strategic shooters with a mix of survival and story elements, then Projekt Z is one to watch. Decadent is bringing back a dark psychological twist to the FPS genre. You will play as a character called John Lorne, a man fighting both external enemies and internal parasite that's slowly taken over his mind. The story here looks to be very rich, deeply personal, and full of twisted themes that'll keep you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. The world around you is twisted, and the choices you make here will lead you down very different paths. Will you give in to the parasite and become something dark, or will you fight it off at all costs? With a mix of combat, mind-bending puzzles, and more choices that impact the story, Decadent really looks to offer a unique experience that blends that horror, action, and narrative. If you're into psychological shooters, this one's definitely one to keep you on your radar. Next up, we've got Atomfall, an intense survival FPS set in a post-nuclear UK. The world here is bleak, irradiated, and incredibly dangerous, as you'll be scavenging for resources, crafting essential gear, and trying to survive in a world where every corner hides new threats. Whether that's from survivors or from the toxic, irradiated landscape itself. This game looks to be taking a lot of inspiration from games like Fallout, so if you love that sort of post-apocalyptic vibe and a survival element, then definitely keep your eye on this one. The game puts a very strong emphasis on those survival mechanics though, making every single decision you make feel incredibly crucial. You will have to decide if you risk exploring a high radiation area for valuable supplies, or stick to safer routes and hope for the best. Atomfall really does promise to be an intense, immersive experience, and the best part is though, that is coming to Xbox Game Pass day one. Before we dive into the remaining games, I have an incredible announcement for you, especially for October. I have partnered with Xbox and we are providing a 5% discount over on my website for all Xbox games, pre-orders, gift cards, and Game Pass subscriptions. You can get money off some upcoming games like Dragon Age The Veilguard and the recently released Space Marine 2. You can also be saving money on your Game Pass subscription to save you that little bit of extra pennies every single month. Use code XboxNation at checkout and it really does help support the channel by giving me a small kickback. With that out the way, thank you for the support and let's dive back into the remaining announcements. Exoborne is a game for those who love a mix of fast-paced action and RPG-style progression, and to be honest, this game has really intrigued me. It's set in a world ravaged by both natural disasters and violent storms, and you'll be playing as a soldier outfitted with high-tech exoskeleton suits that will give you the power to take on incredibly dangerous missions. What makes Exoborne really stand out from the crowd though is the combination of action and customization. You'll be upgrading your exosuit, unlocking new abilities, and using that power to take down enemies and explore hostile environments. The combat, as to be expected, is very fast, brutal, and dynamic, as every single mission feels like a high-risk, high-reward situation. If you're into more action-packed shooters with a touch of RPG elements, then Exoborne is going to be a must-play for you next year. So, you guys remember Splitgate, right? The big hit that came out during the pandemic period? Well, it's back, and Splitgate 2 is bigger and better than ever before. This FPS mixes the traditional shooting mechanics with a unique portal system that lets you teleport around the map. And trust me, it makes for some insane plays, especially if you played the first Splitgate. This time around, the developers have expanded the maps, added some new game modes, and introduced some even deeper progression systems. They've also limited the teams from 6v6 to 5v5 to make some more intense counter scenarios. Whether you're into casual fun or want to climb that competitive reward ladder, Splitgate 2 seems to offer something for everyone. If you love creative gameplay that rewards skill and strategy, then this is going to be one of those games that stays in your rotation for a very long time. In Sand, you'll be dropped into a massive open world desert planet filled with secrets and danger. As a scavenger, your ultimate goal here is to explore ancient ruins, gather resources, and survive in this harsh environment. But it's not just the elements that you'll have to contend with. There are rival factions and deadly creatures that will do anything to stop you. What really makes Sand special though is its mix of exploration, survival, and cooperative gameplay. You will be able to team up with friends to tackle the world's many challenges together, and you'll also have your trusty companion by your side, a giant creature known as a trampler. If you love open world shooters with a unique setting, then Sand promises to deliver a truly expansive and engaging experience. If you're like me, I cannot wait to go inside the trampler, use the different mechanics and buttons to outmaneuver my opponents. It's looking like a truly unique game, and I cannot wait to dive into it. Now, set in a cyberpunk future, Neo Berlin 2087 puts you in the shoes of a detective as he's trying to solve the murder of your police chief. Honestly though, this isn't your typical whodunit game. This is a gritty dystopian city filled with cybernetic criminals, corrupt officials, and dangerous gangs. What really stands out though in Neo Berlin 2087 is the blend of deep narrative-driven storylines and fast-paced FPS combat. You'll essentially here be unraveling a conspiracy that goes far beyond just one murder, with so many twists and turns that will certainly keep you guessing. And to be honest, in true cyberpunk fashion, expect more grey areas, betrayals, and maybe even a touch of romance along the way. Now, if you're like me and you like your shooters filled with non-stop carnage and mutant hordes, then Killing Floor 3 is going to be your jam. Set in a dystopian future overrun by bioengineered monsters known as Zeds, you'll be joining a resistance group called Nightfall. Your mission here? Well, to take on a wave after wave of increasingly powerful and grotesque enemies. The action in Killing Floor 3 is pure chaotic fun, and it's all about that co-op element. Whether you're teaming up with friends or going in with a group of randoms, you'll need to upgrade your weapons and abilities in order to survive. You can expect over-the-top weapons, explosive combat, and massive Zed-slaying mayhem. If you're more into that fast-paced cooperative gameplay in games like Left 4 Dead, then this one will have you and your squad glued to your screen for hours. Now, for something completely different, and to be honest, I know this one's intrigued many players out there, and it's Mouse, PI for hire. This game is as quirky as it's clever. It blends that 1930s rubber hose animation style with a gritty noir detective story. And yes, you're also playing as a mouse. But don't let the adorable visuals fool you here, this FPS really packs a serious punch. You'll be navigating through a world full of gangsters, corrupt officials, and bizarre characters, solving mysteries whilst engaging in fast-paced firefights. The hand-drawn animation here is beautifully done, and the contrast between the whimsical art style and the noir crime-riddled storyline makes for one of the most unique FPS games on this list. Plus, who wouldn't want to play as a tough-as-nails private eye mouse? This game's charm is just off the charts, and the detective noir will have you hooked from the first clue. I cannot wait to get my hands on this one, and I'll keep you updated the more news we get. INDUSTRIA 2 is the follow-up to the critically acclaimed first game, and it looks like it's bringing even more of that eerie, atmospheric charm we know and love. You will once again play as Nora, continuing her story through a surreal parallel dimension. The stakes here are actually higher than the first game, as an old enemy, Atlas, has returned to throw his alternative reality into chaos. You'll be dealing with strange, sort of dreamlike environments and solving puzzles whilst blasting away through tons of enemies. The game really expertly combines that sort of story-driven exploration with great FPS mechanics, and the mood here is incredibly immersive. If you're more into those sort of atmospheric shooters that make you think while keeping you on the edge, then INDUSTRIA 2 is going to deliver that and so much more. This one is a hidden gem, so I highly recommend you try the first INDUSTRIA if you haven't already. If you like a mix of mystery and action, then Lunar Abyss is going to grab your attention. I know I mentioned this game last year, but unfortunately it did get delayed into 2025. But to be honest, from what we've seen of this game so far, it's looking incredibly ambitious. You will play as a prisoner set deep into a forgotten lunar colony to basically gather intel, but honestly, what you find here is way more than you bargained for. This game blends fast-paced frantic shooting with some pretty deep exploration. The environments are atmospheric and unsettling, and the enemies are fierce, and from the gameplay we've seen, it looks utterly beautiful. Lunar Abyss is just about uncovering the dark story of this abandoned lunar outpost, as it is about surviving its dangers. There is actually a rich narrative running throughout the game, and the tension builds as you dive deeper into the abyss. If you love sci-fi shooters with a strong focus on story, then this one is one to watch. Closing out our list today is Terminator Survivors, and to be honest, I'm personally hyped for this one. You'll step into the shoes of a human resistance fighter in a world ruled by Skynet, where Terminators are hunting you down at every single turn. The game really emphasizes sort of stealth and survival, forcing you to use every trick in the book to outsmart these relentless killing machines. It's as high stakes as you come to expect, with heart-pounding action where every single decision could be your last. You'll need to manage your own resources, avoid detection from the bots, and fight against overwhelming odds. The tension of constantly being hunted by near indestructible machines will definitely keep you on the edge of your seat. And for anyone who's a fan of the Terminator universe, this one's going to be a dream come true. I did also want to mention, as a very quick bonus, we will be seeing games like the next Battlefield game and also the next Call of Duty next year, but we don't currently have any announcement for these games. We did have some concept art which dropped on the new Battlefield game, and I know there's a few videos out there about what we're going to expect, and seeing it go back to that sort of Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 element is certainly exciting. Obviously, with the next Call of Duty coming out next year, we don't really have any details on this one as of yet, but we do know it will be dropping day one onto Xbox Game Pass. So there it is, 15 insane FPS games dropping onto Xbox and Game Pass in 2025. Whether you're wanting to uncover lunar mysteries in Lunar Abyss or mow down waves of mutants in Killing Floor 3, there's something here for every kind of FPS fan. If you enjoyed this rundown, make sure to hit that like button. Again, subscribe as we do upload Xbox content every single day. And whilst here, why don't you check out our most recent video covering the 14 brand new Xbox and Game Pass games that are releasing this week.